Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's talk about the superior mesenteric artery, which is responsible for supplying the structures of the midgut, which include a part of the duodenum, the jejunum, the ileum, and the appendix, the cecum, the ascending colon, and the right two-third of the transverse colon. ठीक है, सो ये मैंने जो एक रफ सा एक नक्शा खींचा, आई होप दैट मेक सेंस. ठीक है, नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द ओरिजिन. ठीक है, इसका जो ओरिजिन है दैट इज़ फ्रॉम द फ्रंट ऑफ द आयोटा 1 सेंटीमीटर्स बिलो द सीलियाक ट्रंक. ठीक है, और इसने क्रॉस करना होता है, मतलब इट एक्चुअली अराइजेज बिहाइंड द बॉडी ऑफ पैंक्रियाज इन फ्रंट ऑफ द अनसेनेट प्रोसेस, क्रॉसेज द थर्ड पार्ट ऑफ द ड्यूडेनम, and it moves towards the right side and its convexity is towards the left side. The first branch that arises is the inferior pancreaticoduodenal artery, and that is a branch of the right side. ठीक है, this actually runs in the pancreaticoduodenal groove. ठीक है, and it anastomoses with the superior pancreaticoduodenal artery, which is a branch of the gastroduodenal artery. And because of the name, as the name indicates, pancreaticoduodenal, so it's responsible for supplying the head of the pancreas and a part of the duodenum. Now let's talk about the middle colic artery, which has the right and left branches. The right branch is actually going to anastomose with the right colic artery, and the left branch of the middle colic artery is going to anastomose with the left colic artery, which is a branch of the inferior mesenteric artery. Next, talk about the right colic artery. Okay, so the middle colic is responsible for supplying the transverse colon. Now talking about the right colic artery, which has an ascending branch and a descending branch. The ascending branch of the right colic artery anastomoses with the middle colic artery, and the descending branch of the right colic artery anastomoses with the iliocolic artery. And this right colic artery is responsible for supplying the upper portion of the ascending colon and the right flexure, the right colic flexure of the colon. And last but not the least is the iliocolic artery, and that also divides into an ascending or a superior branch and a descending or an inferior branch. The ascending branch will be anastomosing with the right colic artery, and the descending branch will be anastomosing with the termination of the superior mesenteric artery. मैंने एक important बात आपको नहीं बताई about the superior mesenteric artery. That is, superior mesenteric artery, after crossing the third part of the duodenum, it will run in the root of the mesentery towards the right iliac fossa. ठीक है ना, its termination is there in the right iliac fossa, and it travels there in the root of mesentery. Okay, and next is about the terminal branch, or the inferior branch of the iliocolic artery. That this inferior branch of the iliocolic artery is responsible for supplying a portion of the ascending colon, the cecum, the appendix, and the ileum. ठीक है, let's talk about the branches that are arising from the superior mesenteric artery at the left side. So this was all about the branches of the right side. The branches that are arising at the left side, they include the jejunal and the ileal branches. The jejunal and the ileal branches are 12 to 15 in number, and they anastomose with one another to form arterial arcades. And those arterial arcades, they form vasa recta. Okay, and those vasa recta actually supply the remaining portion of the gut, like your jejunum, okay, and some part of your ileum. Although the terminal part of the ileum is supplied by this iliocolic artery, but the remaining part of the ileum and the remaining part of the jejunum is supplied by the vasa recta that are arising from the jejunal and ileal branches. So jejunal और ileal से नाम से ही पता चल रहा है that they are actually responsible for supplying the jejunum and the ileum. ठीक है, important इन्होंने एक पॉइंट जो मेंशन किया हुआ है अबाउट द jejunum and the ileal branches, that what's the difference between either of these. ठीक है, तो उन्होंने कहा है कि the branches, the arterial arcades that are there in the ileum, they are comparatively more. Like the ileum, it forms at least 2 to 5 arterial arcades. So the vasa recta were them. ठीक है, जो vasa recta जो straight branches जो कि arise करती हैं from the arterial arcades, they are comparatively shorter. Whereas in the jejunum, ठीक है, क्या होता है कि आपके arterial arcades are comparatively less in number, so the vasa recta are longer. ठीक है, so this was all about the superior mesenteric artery.